Hello, welcome, and well done for finding us. We're recording this live from Scotland as both an audio podcast and also as a video for our YouTube channel, so feel free to check us out over there as well. My name's Simon. I'm here with my good friends and co-hosts Jimmy D and Brucey. Today is June the 8th, 2021, and this is the Boorach. In 2021, bored of lockdown, three friends began producing a podcast. Today, still going strong, they continue to talk nonsense. If you're having trouble sleeping, and if you can find it, maybe you should listen to the Boorach. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, upbeat. It's been great weather all weekend. Lovely weather today. You always smile when the sun's shining. It's good.
Exactly. And the sun is shining on us because over the last few days since we uploaded our first podcast, we have had 29 people listen to it. We've had 6 subscribers as an audio podcast, and on YouTube we've had 7 subscribers and 73 people watched the video.
Wow.
So,
do you know that there is an element of that that's slightly disappointing though, because we're probably between us got a lot more family than that.
That's true.
You know what I mean? If not even, and add your friends. I think we just need to get the word out there a little bit more. I mean,
and I've watched it about 10 times.
Good. So thanks to Bruce for spending the time watching the video this week. No, I think we definitely would get out more. We should aim, I think, for 100 subscribers over the 2 mediums to start with. That should be our first target, and if we meet that, we should do something crazy and fun to mark it. Yeah, I'm thinking, James,
do it naked. We could do it naked. Yeah, well, yeah. Everybody wants to see that. I appreciate, but yeah, we should all just do a naked podcast.
We'll have a
we could do it live
about this.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll mull it over. We'll just
well, hold on.
The flagpole.
We've gone down to 4 subscribers now. No, good. So, boys, how's your week been? I mean, what have you been up to this week? Anything exciting?
Well, I've been. Last week I was working in the garden, and then a little bit more. Same again this weekend. So it's a big project that's on the go. It keeps going. So that's what I've been busy with still.
Good. Bruce, how about you?
Yeah, similar. Busy week, exacerbated by the clutch of my car going on Friday night. That was interesting times. So it's all fixed today, thanks to the lovely chaps at Bumper to Bumper in Musselburgh. Very nice, good service, good plug.
Nice plug. Nice. Good. Well, always good to be safe on the roads. Guys, let's crack on maybe with the first section of our podcast. There's a few sections to get through. So the first one is, as last week, what's on your mind? So, Bruce, let's start with you and see what's on your mind this week.
Well, Simon, I've got a question for you to start straight away. And the question is quite simply, Simon, can you boogie?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir, I can boogie.
No.
Brilliant. Well, Simon, you may not know that in a week's time, less than a week's time, Scotland are about to kick off their Euro 2020, confusingly, European Football Championships campaign against the Czech Republic. And it's the first time that we have been in a major tournament, or the men's team, importantly, have been in a major tournament since 1998, a mere 23 years ago, when we were 23 years younger and 23 pounds slimmer.
I remember it. I remember it vividly. I was in my student accommodation in Edinburgh, and we were watching that first game against Brazil. It was just mental when John Collins scored. We were 1-0 up. It was just absolutely crazy. We ran outside and onto Corstorphine Road at the time. We were going, with a Jimmy hats on and face all painted, and we were just going, running around, and all the cars tooting their horns because they kind of knew what had happened because everyone was listening on the radio. So it was the opening game as well in the '98. It was brilliant.
I'm sure we can find photo evidence of that somewhere. I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of you guys on outside Pink Hill.
I think you might have, yeah. I think our good friend Colin Valentine was a part of that that week. I think he was there. I don't think he moved out. I think he's actually moved in for the week, and we just drank beer for the entire week.
We were in the Jock Tamson's pub in Glasgow watching it, and when Scotland got a penalty, the place just erupted, and obviously went so mad that a wire or something got pulled out of the plug, and so all the tellies went off.
No!
just as we got the penalty.
And then was there a riot? Was there a riot after that?
Well, some very, very quick-thinking man ran out of the boozer across to the bookies on the other side of the road because they had the telly on. It was the closest telly to Jock Tamson. And he basically came running back in shouting, "We scored!" And then the whole place kind of went mad. So it was just this mad moment where everyone went. And who would have thought that would have been that was it. That was the last time that we would be following the Scotland's men's team. I mean, the women's team famously qualified for the Women's World Cup a few years ago, but for the men's team not to feature again, you wouldn't have believed it at the time. So, another question for you, Simon. What do the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia, as was Denmark and Greece, all have in common?
They all beat us at some point in something.
Well, probably, yeah. That's not it, Jim.
Apart from that, I don't know.
Got any pre-quiz?
They were all in the. Were they all in the group that previously have got to a semi-final?
No, they have all won it.
Oh.
They have all won the whole tournament.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
So,
good company.
Smaller nation, it's a good chance, and we're at this lovely point where you follow a Scotland football team where you've got more hope, excited. You think it's gonna happen. We believe we're going to go all the way and win it. It's a lovely point until the crushing disappointment sits in a couple of weeks' time. But
but we can take they cross that bridge when you come to it. But I think we've got one of the best teams I've seen for a while. As far as raw talent or individuals, it's whether or not they can come together as a team. I think that's going to be the key, because we've got a lot of really talented players in the squad, a lot more than I've seen for a long time, especially up front, midfield, defence even as well. Actually, we've got some great guys. It's going to be interesting to see if they can come together, and Steve Clarke can kind of bring them together as a team. I think that'll be key.
And listen out for the name Billy Gilmore. I think that's he's
Billy Whiz.
Billy Gilmore plays for Chelsea. He's quite a young kid. He didn't actually play, but they've just won the Champions League last week, and came on for half an hour against Luxembourg the other night, and just looked sensational. Brilliant player. So
he's actually, is he still under 21s, isn't he?
Yeah. So so yes, at this point, Simon, we're excited. We think it might be a thing. We'll maybe follow it over the next couple of weeks because it'll be on for the next month. But at this juncture, we've got the Czechs, who we've beaten the last couple of times we played them, next Tuesday. So if we can keep that form up, beat them next week, could be on for a brilliant month.
Great. Well, we'll keep monitoring the progress as we go through our podcasts, and your level of excitements and all that sort of stuff. Be good fun. One question though: why is it still Euro 2020? We're now in June 2021.
Probably because all the marketing T-shirts have been printed already, so they couldn't waste them, so they've just kept in the Euro 2020. Probably, I can't think of another reason. Money. It'll be money. It's somebody's losing money if they don't call it that.
Yeah. Oh, that's maybe fair enough, actually. Yeah, they got the logos all printed, I suppose.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
And the logos and everything, all the flags and whatever else that they've got to put out on the pitches, and it would probably be cost far too much to reprint them all. And then what do you do with the old ones? Just they're useless. So just keep the name.
Keep that name. Oh well, fair enough. Good. Well, fingers crossed for Scotland over the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be the same for us as well, though, Si, because I've got all the T-shirts printed with the Boorach podcast stuff, so we can't change the name of that now. I've got flags and things coming as well, so baseball caps and stuff. So name's not changing anymore.
Name's sticking. That's good. Huh? It's growing on me. Right, what's on your mind, Jimmy D, this week? What's been playing those grey cells?
Well, do you know, I was talking about my garden earlier, and it's hard work, right? There's I'm doing proper landscaping, and what occurred to me afterwards, after a couple of hard days graft, is that I sit behind a desk all day every day, right? and I'm very not very active, and actually just doing some manual labour, some spade work, some shovel work, building a wall, doing something creative and manual with your hands is really good for the soul. And it kind of just really picked me up after the weekend. I was absolutely knackered, but when you sort of look out on what you've done, you think, do you know what, that was pretty good, and you actually feel really good about it. So I think everybody needs to, and it's really good to kind of just do a good bit of hard graft now and again, and just remind yourself what a lot of people do every day. And I grew up on a farm, and my dad used to do hard graft all the time, and then we did growing up as well, and I kind of miss it. It takes me back a little bit, because when we're having to shovel out the shit out the sheep pens and all that kind of stuff, and just walking miles and miles to go and check sheep, or to go and do carry bales of hay or stack bales of hay, things like that. All just manual stuff. It's just great to have done a day like that. My brother, who's still a farmer, laughs at me for that sort of stuff, because he does it every day. And he's like, "Really? Come down and help me on the farm if you're really that keen." But yeah, it was good, and I think everybody needs to do it now and again, just to appreciate how difficult it can be sometimes.
But I think generally DIY in general, you do get a sense of satisfaction if you've achieved something. And look,
yes, exactly, accomplishment. I thought I was going to say there. I kind of spoke over it. Yeah.
No, that's good. Good. Well, that's good. Well, like I say, we said last week we we're going to talk about the weather, but it's still nice. You're still working, so that's good. I hope it doesn't rain too soon before you get the job done.
Me too.
I'm going to quickly mention to you that 2 days ago, Sunday, as we record this, was the first day in over 15 months that I went to the cinema. Now, for those of you who know me, I sort of go regularly, usually once a week if I can, because I very much enjoy going to the cinema as an experience. And first time back on Sunday, went with the family. We went and saw Cruella, which actually is a very good film. But actually, just being back in the room, in the seats, with the sound and the lights and the hot dogs, it was good. I'd forgotten how much I'd actually sort of missed it. You sort of get used to not doing these things over lockdown, I think, and then suddenly when you can do them again, you're sort of reminded of how nice it is and how good fun it is. So, that was me. That was me this week.
Well, that's the danger for the cinemas as well, though, is that people aren't used to doing that, and actually now because they've been locked in the house, they've gone, do you know what, that cinema screen we were going to get, let's just go ahead and get it. Do you know that big plasma telly we were going to get, let's just get it. And they bought the Netflix, they bought the Disney Plus, they bought whatever, and actually they're going, do we really want to go to the cinema? And another however much it is. And I think that's it'll be interesting to see just how badly that affects the cinemas over time, I think.
Yeah, I mean that is a consideration. I mean, obviously the price is a big thing. I'd almost forgotten how expensive a cinema was. But that aside, I think even with your plasma TVs in your house or whatever, I mean, it's not going to touch the size of a cinema screen, and the sound quality or whatever. It's just the experience of being out with somebody else as well and sharing it. The social distancing is probably a issue for them, because the screen we were at, you had to sit sort of 2 or 3 seats apart from the next group and all that, all over the place. So much like the theatres, not getting many people into a screening, which has got to affect their bottom line. But actually, that's a different conversation, I guess. The actual joy of going back to the cinema, spot on. So I enjoyed that.
Right. You know that they've got a fear that all these people who've built bars in their back garden, are going to be difficult to be persuaded back into the boozers when they reopen in the next few weeks. That some folk have gone to considerable efforts to be able to kind of have backyard boozers, and they're going to be like, well, why would I go and pay £5.60 a pint or whatever when I could just go up to my own backyard? Not quite the same for a cinema. I'm not sure how many folk have built a cinema, but. Might have
but no, it is. It's a fair point, yeah. Well, interesting to see as we recover and go back to sort of normal, I guess, what normal actually looks like going forward. But interesting stuff. Good. All right, guys. Nice bit of catching up. So we're going to move on to the next section of the podcast, which is the Scottish quiz. And for this section, we hand over to Bruce, who makes us look embarrassed by not knowing the answer.
I think that was maybe you. last week. So I think
Last week was not my
covered
not my
myself in
proudest
glory
moment.
last week. I think you'll find. Don't speak for me.
No, you did put me to shame last week, but this is going to be my week. So, Bruce, we're going to hand over to you for the Scottish quiz.
Awesome. So, yes, quiz this week. Well, Simon, because you struggled last week, I thought I'd kind of give you a slight advantage this week. And I've
You've
I've
loaded the
focused
questions.
Scottish
You've
quiz.
loaded the questions, haven't you?
Places where Simon has been. No, we've got. Well, I've made it. This week's quiz is based in Glasgow. So Simon, having been a student there back in the day, should have a slight edge here, Simon. So, but you know,
It's a long time ago, Bruce.
well,
but okay, thanks for thinking.
And are
Right.
you defining Glasgow like the rest of us Edinburghers, which is anything west of Hart Hill? Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Or are you going more
Anywhere,
city centre?
anywhere that's not the capital, Jim. Basically, I love Glasgow. I shouldn't mean to Glasgow. I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. So, but just a little Glasgow Edinburgh joke there for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, you ready? You ready for your a bit of Glasgow? So same setup as we did last week. Who went first last week? I think it was you, Simon, wasn't it? You got to answer first last week. So
Yeah.
James will be getting to answer first.
It was.
And then Simon will get to either copy James's answer or offer his own, or maybe think more tactically this week with a number answer. You could have been a bit more like, just do one number higher and then you're in for the winner. But they're more less numbers this week. So, okay, good to go.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
I'm ready.
Question number 1. So this one to you, James. So the Glasgow underground or subway system is famously known as the Clockwork Orange. However, how many stops does the Clockwork Orange have? How many stops on the Glasgow underground, James?
8.
8. Okay. Yep. Going for 8. Simon.
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of the map in my head. I can't. So I'm going to go for 14.
14. Oh. 1 out, Simon. It's 15. There are 15 stops.
Oh.
So it's a point to Simon for being the closest this week.
Yes.
So there you go. 1 to Simon.
There you go.
All right. Good stuff. Good. Oh, yes. He played to your advantage already, Simon. There you go. All right. Question number
I like it.
2. Okay. There is an iconic statue which is situated outside the Gallery of Modern Art in Glasgow. But it's perhaps most famous because it is always bedecked with a traffic cone on top of the horse rider's head. But who is the statue of? Who is riding the horse? Statue outside the Gallery of Modern Art.
I want to say, the immediately came to my head was George Washington, but I don't know why that came to my head, and because I don't think it is him. He's an American, obviously, president.
Former American President George Washington.
No, I don't think it is that. It's I can't remember. I'm going to go with that. I can't remember.
Simon, any insight into?
Do you know, the only thing that's come to my head, and I know it's not right, is the Duke of Wellington.
Wellington.
So I'm going to say him.
Duke
I
of
don't know why.
Wellington.
I'm going to say him.
So you're 2 for 2. It's the Duke of Wellington. You're right.
Got you there, Jerry.
There you go.
I smell a rat.
Good. 2 now. Well, it's harder to go first or something, right? Oh, okay. Well, James, you brought up George Washington there, famous American president, of course. But moving, it's like seamless, like you planted this for me. The next question is: which American president famously gave his first public address in Glasgow?
American president, first public address in Glasgow. Bill Clinton.
Going for Bill Clinton. Okay, Simon.
That was a good one. Actually, I don't know that one. First American president, I'm going to say Kennedy.
James isn't going to believe I've not said the answer. It is. It's JFK. Is the answer. 3 for 3. Simon Beattie on fire. Wow.
That was a guess. That was a guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Carry on.
It's real
on.
competition. All right, Jim. Come on. This is right up your street. This one. Okay. So, which rock band famously played out of the window of Tower Records on Argyle Street in Glasgow in 1995? Was it Bon Jovi? Was it the Rolling Stones? Was it The Who? Or was it Guns N' Roses?
I don't know. So I'm going to go with, and I don't even know which one of these is on Tower Records even, so I can't even narrow it down that way. I don't think it was Bon Jovi. It's more likely to be the Rolling Stones or The Who or the other one. But yeah, I'll go with Rolling Stones.
James has gone for the Rolling Stones. Simon, 4 for 4, 100% so far here, potentially.
There's a bit of pressure now, and I'm going to go with Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi is the answer. Brilliant.
Something in my head maybe reminded me it was Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi, it was indeed. Okay. Right. I think this one might get Si. I'm pretty sure this might be it. Last one for you going first, James, okay? So, what is the tallest building in Scotland? And the clue, of course, is that it happens to be in Glasgow.
Don't know. Don't know. It's going to be the Glasgow Science Centre or something, is it?
Is that your answer, or are you?
Yeah. I don't know.
Going Glasgow Science Centre.
Tallest building in Glasgow. See, I was going to say the Glasgow Science Centre, but then I'm thinking these, high-rise flats must be taller than the Glasgow Science Centre. Surely some of these.
Don't drag it outside. Just give the answer.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer. So I'm going to say the Glasgow Science Centre with you. That's what I was going to say. So go for that.
Well, I'm going to give you both a point. It's the Glasgow Tower, which is based at the Science Museum, is the tallest building in Scotland. But it's also the tallest building which can rotate 360 degrees in the world. So,
in the world? Yeah, that's interesting.
So.
Right.
There you go. A little something you didn't know.
Yeah, good. So still 5 for 5 for Simon, 1 for James so far. Switch it round now, of course. So, James, you get to answer second. Si, you have to answer first. Okay. So, moving along the Clyde a little from the Science Museum, we would find the other famous landmark of the Finnieston Crane, the big blue crane on the banks of the Clyde. But what was the Finnieston Crane primarily used to lift? What did it actually lift? The Finnieston Crane.
It lifted, boats. Boats?
Okay.
Sort of boats?
Whole boats?
I don't know. Bits of boats. Boats. Just say boats.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay. Could you repeat the question?
Okay, sure thing. The Finnieston Crane, which is an iconic Glaswegian landmark on the banks of the Clyde. But what did the Finnieston Crane primarily lift in its lifetime?
Yeah, I think it is boats.
Well,
yeah,
both
I'm going to go with Si's answer. No?
It's actually steam locomotives. That's what it was used for.
Wouldn't have got that.
No, to be honest, it was news
did
today.
Did he lift it? Were they lifted onto boats?
Pass. Don't know.
I would imagine they would have been,
Possibly.
yes.
Yeah, probably for transporting abroad, I would have thought. Probably, yeah. So there you go.
That's interesting.
So that's what it did.
Okay.
Yep. Good. Okay, so score still 5-1. Okie doke. Glasgow famously bestowed the freedom of the city to a man in 1981, but he was not able to come and receive the honour until 1993. Who was he?
I know this one.
Oh, now I'm torn. Is it a Brucey special or is it an actual genuine thing here? I'm going to go for Billy Connolly.
It's going for
No,
Billy Connolly.
I'm going to go for Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yes. Jim's got it right. It was a little red herring for you, Si. It was indeed Nelson Mandela. He was bestowed it in 1981 when, of course, he was still in prison. And he didn't get to come to Glasgow until after his release in 1991. And Nelson Mandela Place, obviously, famously named after him.
Well, actually
So,
renamed. It was actually renamed because the South African embassy was on that street, so they renamed it the Nelson Mandela Place just to piss them off, which was classic. It's just pure Glasgow, isn't it?
It's good. So is, yeah, brilliant. There's some brilliant footage of that whole visit, actually, if you ever get a chance to watch it. Cool. So, Jim, I'll come back. Comeback's on, Jim. Okay. Next question. Couple left. Which attraction in Glasgow is the most visited of its type out with London?
The Kelvin Grove Museum.
So he's going for the Kelvin Grove Museum.
I'm going to go for the Modern Art Gallery. Is it the Kelvin Grove one?
It's another point to Simon. So he's doing well. Yeah, it's the Kelvin Grove Museum. It's the most visited museum out with London.
It's a very good museum as well.
Yeah, very popular. Yeah. Oh, I think we've lost James. Still there, James. He's back.
Technical problem. Live. There's live.
It's live technical difficulties. I've had to change my headset as well because I just don't think those speakers were actually working in my earbuds. So I've had to change that as well. But that wouldn't have stopped everything else working. But yeah, it's been sorry, a bit dodgy. All the technical difficulties. Apologies. Carry on. Where were we?
Unbelievable.
I was just getting another point, I think.
You were losing the quiz
probably.
pretty spectacularly, James.
Pretty
okay, 2 questions left.
Yeah.
In 2017, the city of Glasgow gifted 3 50-foot murals to what cause?
Oh, it is me, but I have no idea. What cause? Save the Children.
Was it the restoration of the Charles Rennie Mackintosh building?
Oh, they're good guesses.
That's a better answer.
Every week I'm trying to get the answer of Billy Connolly into these questions, and I have successfully managed to do it. Snuck it past you. It was a 75th birthday present for Billy Connolly. 3 50-foot murals painted on the side of some tenements. You can see the pictures. You might be able to link to them later on. So that was from the city of Glasgow to Billy Connolly. So there you go.
Oh, so did they paint them? Did Glasgow paint them? Did they paint them on the side of the building? Is that?
Not the whole of Glasgow. No, it was it was 3 artists. One of which was Jack Vetriano.
Okay.
Can't remember the name off the top of my head.
So they didn't gift him a mural; they painted a mural in his honour.
Yes, but they paid for it. Essentially, they commissioned the artists to go and paint these murals on the sides of tenements. So it was a gift from the city of Glasgow to Billy Connolly to commemorate
Stewards Inquiry. Stewards Inquiry.
Very good.
I mean, some are better than others. I think that's all I'll say. When you get a chance to look at it. Good. Right, last question. I mean, it's already it's Simon's home and host here. Another Iron Brew question this week. So, Scotland is famously one of the few countries in the world where Coca-Cola is not the #1 selling soft drink. But where does Iron Brew rank in the UK overall?
Oh. I was going to answer that.
UK-wide sales.
Size question.
Iron Brew.
Right. UK-wide sales.
So what?
I'm going to say. Well, I'm going to say fifth.
I'm going to say third.
Fifth overall. And you'd be right, James. Third is the right answer. It's the third biggest selling soft
I
drink.
thought
after,
Coke, Pepsi, and then
the
Iron
big
Brew.
two. And that's it. Yeah. So there you go. So victory for Simon this week.
Very good. Very good.
Makes it 1 each in this series.
Crowd noise.
Well done,
Well
Si.
done.
Whoa.
So next week,
Well
in
done,
honor
James. Well done.
of
But,
the football, there's going to be a Scottish sport themed quiz, Si. So you might want to do some research for next week. So
As long as you do
Glasgow
curling,
this
I don't
week.
mind.
lovely.
Curling might come up.
Well, James has won next week already. There you go.
Brucey will text.
I've even
Don't
given
worry,
you a week's
Brucey will
notice.
text.
What more do you want? See
To
what
study the whole of Scottish sport. Right, okay, I'll see what I can do. Well done, no, great, well done. That was a good fun. Glasgow, there you go, who knew? Right, guys, let's move on to the next section. We've changed this section slightly. It was news we might not have heard about. We're going to move it on to something you may not have heard about, so it covers more areas that we can delve into. So it might just be something you've heard, or something you've read somewhere, or something you know about, whatever. So, Bruce, let's start with you again. What's your something you may not have heard about this week?
Simon, this weekend I've had the pleasure, as part of my job actually, of working on the 48-hour film project, the Edinburgh 48-hour film project, with two groups of students that I work with at Queen Margaret. And the basic premise of the film project is that everyone congregates, in this case online, normally done on location, usually in a pub, 7 o'clock on a Friday night, and you are drawn two genres of film that you've got to make, and you're given a character that has to be included in the film, a line that has to be included, and a prop. And then you basically have 48 hours from that moment to make a film and submit it. And the following week, so as we're recording, it will be tomorrow night and Thursday night of this week, you then share the films with everyone else, and there's a judging panel, and there are prizes for best film, best director, best actor, best sound, all those kinds of things. So it's a kind of mini competition all done over the weekend, and I kind of supervised two teams of our BA honours acting students to take part, which was brilliant, really fun weekend. They did a great job. We'll put some links to the two films so folk can have a watch of them if they want to see what they did. And it was it was brilliant. So I think it's a fun project. Apparently, it's the most popular filmmaking event in Scotland. They do one in Glasgow in November as well. And you can sign up to see all the other films and watch what everyone kind of got up to. I've seen a few of the other competition entries this week, and they're all good. They're all kind of on a fun theme. So I just thought it'd be worth kind of highlighting that was it. And if you're into kind of filmmaking or that kind of thing, it's definitely a fun thing to get involved in.
Cool. And so if you're going to do it, I mean, do you have to have all your own equipment, or do you have like guys there with cameras and sound booms and mics and all the rest of it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so you have to do it yourself, but it's not really. They're very clear that it's not about having the best kit and all that kind of stuff. They're looking for good stories. They're looking for how you can make film, and some folk make it on a phone. So just need probably something to be able to edit on afterwards. But they're really looking for the creativity of working the different genres and the characters in to tell a story from a standing start. So. Nowadays, you could film it on your phone.
Okay.
So what were your lines or your things you had to include this for your films?
So everyone had the same character, which was Blake Noble, a pilot. The line was "Where am I?" which was nice and broad, and the prop was a ticket. And we had two different teams, and they had two different genres. One had you had to do one of the genres, or at least one of the genres. If you can combine them, then great. So one group had romance and revenge as their two genres. They went more down the kind of romance line. And the other group had dark comedy and or holiday/vacation. So you could do a Christmas film, for example, if you want it. And so you've got to try and make sure that you make a film that fits into that kind of genre.
No, good. Well, I'll certainly be watching them, but also, like you say, we'll link to them as well.
Yeah,
so
it's
people
interesting.
can enjoy them, and no, definitely.
And for us,
the next one's in November, you say?
That's Glasgow in November. But I mean, there's folk from down south, and there was some folk in like Argentina, and I think it was the team from somewhere else in South America as well. That it kind of, because it's online at the moment, you can just participate in that festival. I mean, the sort of idea is you're supposed to go around the city and kind of make it as part of the city. But it's brilliant for our guys because a lot of them had never even held a camera 6 months ago, so it's just a real brilliant opportunity for them to get a bit of practice of being behind the camera, but also obviously doing some acting and stuff as well. And they were brilliant. It was great fun. Good weekend.
Yeah. No, great. That is good. That's good. It's really interesting. I mean, obviously I'm into film as well, so that'd be interesting to see that. What you can do. And was there a certain length you had to make the films, or was it just as long as it needed to be?
Yeah, they've got to be between 4 and 7 minutes.
No, right, okay. Interesting. Oh, very good. Right, that is interesting. James, have you brought something? I mean, you were praised last week by one of our followers on our podcast who left a comment saying that he was very impressed with the Trishaw information that you brought to the podcast last week. So have you got something equally as impressive this week?
Well,
something that we may not have heard about?
Not sure. I mean, the good work that they're doing down in Ross Skating down there, I don't think I could top that. But I wanted to talk about beavers, Si. It's recently been in the news in Perthshire, and they, as you might know, there are beavers everywhere, right? And they are now all over the Tay and are all around and down in the borders as well now, I think, and all over the Highlands. And a few years ago, they released a few beavers to see how it would go. And it's gone really well. Beavers seem to really like Scotland. And there is now a lot of beavers everywhere. Now, it's been in the news just recently because the farmers are now actually trying to get a license to shoot them. There's that many. But I think they're not being allowed to. But in Abernethy, in the little sleepy village of Abernethy, just up, we're not that far from the Erne, but we have our own beavers. They have come up and they have started building a dam in the little burn outside my house that runs down through the village. And you can now go out the front door and get a look at a beaver. That's brilliant. What's wrong with that? Si, don't take it there. Don't take it there. Come on.
No, I was just simply going to ask, have you seen many beavers?
I have seen the damage that they've done, or I've seen what they've done, but I've not actually caught a glimpse of the beaver yet. I've seen its dam, and I know people in the village that have seen them, just down in the burn. But no, I haven't. I think they're pretty much nocturnal. You don't really get to see them much during the day. You've got to go out with your night vision goggles and stuff and see them, I think, if you're going to catch a good sight of them. But they're even down in the city centre in Perth. We've got the beavers are in the Tay in the city centre, so that'll be interesting to see if that actually brings some tourists into Perth just to try and catch a swatch at a beaver. You guys are shocking. Look at Brucey there trying to stifle his laugh. Come on.
I know we did so well. I'm unsure. Why is there now a problem? What's wrong with having too many beavers?
Some would say you can never have too many beavers, because they're lovely animals and they do a lot for the countryside. But they do nibble away at trees, and they do create a lot of damage around the banks of trees, around the banks with trees, and the dams that they build flood certain parts of the land, and a lot of the land in Perthshire is actually farmed on floodplains. And so when you're building a lot of dams, and the water doesn't really need to go up that much before the water starts flooding onto the land that people are farming. And so some people say, well, yeah, but that's natural. It's a floodplain, but equally farmers are trying to make a living as well, and they don't want beavers in their area. But it's about whether you can control them and keep them all. You can't. They're a wild animal. You can't kind of keep them hemmed into a certain specific, highland glens where it's maybe a bit easier for them to do that. So yeah, it's a difficult balance. Farming and nature always is.
What was the sort of thinking behind the reintroduction, or was it to try and, they're not quite good at managing the watercourse and stuff? Is that not?
I think as we start to plant more trees and as we start to try and rewild some areas in Scotland, we're trying to introduce the animals back that we killed out. I mean, beavers were used to be all over Scotland, but we killed them out. Same as the wolves and same as the bears and everything else that eventually died out just through deforestation and through man killing them for food and for animal skins and things like that. So they're just trying to reintroduce it into its natural habitat, really. But with these things, it's always it's so difficult because it wasn't like it used to be when the beavers were around. The world is very different, and man is not as used to living side by side, farming agribusiness like we do these days, and beavers, kicking around doing what they do. It's hard. It's not an easy one.
Well, we saw the same thing happen in Jurassic Park.
It's very similar to that size, very similar, because, as soon as you take them out of their natural habitat and you try and put humans in there, nature takes over,
Exactly. And just as a genuine question, are beavers dangerous to humans? I don't know. I mean, do they attack?
Bloody teeth. They have got huge teeth. If you see some of the tree trunks that they gnaw through, they're cutting through trees, like that, and they're felling, pretty significant trees. And so, but no, they won't go near a human. As soon as they see you, they'll run away and jump in the river, and you'll never see them. They live they don't live underwater, but they swim underwater a lot. So they won't go anywhere near humans. No. But if you backed it into a corner, you wouldn't want to get near its teeth.
No, dangerous. Never good to have teeth coming towards you. Great, James. That's been quite interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be up there with the Try Show.
The Try Show was more of a public information broadcast as much as anything, and just a recognition of the great work that they're doing down there. But yeah, beavers are beavers. It's just nice. It's nice to have them in the village, I think.
Good. Well, maybe we'll come round one day and try and see one.
Yeah.
Can I just say, if Andy Smith...
Okay, I'm going to move on now.
If our good friend Andy Smith has made it to the end of this without decking himself, I'll be astonished.
Come on, guys, we're better than this.
Right.
I was beavers. There's actual beavers outside my door. Come round and you can see them.
No, Picture evidence.
Well, that'll be good.
I will.
Picture evidence. Take a picture.
I'm going to straight after this podcast, and I'm going to try and get a picture of a beaver.
Right, good. I'm going to move on slightly to something I've been looking at rather than something of interest. Well, it is something of interest as well, I guess. But I'm back on crowdfunder because it was good highlighting the Scottish Coal Championship last week.
Have you just got like a lot of money lying around that you're wondering what to do with? Is that why you're surfing crowdfunder?
Well, I'm thinking it's good to look at local or Scottish-based events that need some funding, and we can probably get the message out and see if we can help in any way. This week, I am highlighting the Scottish Junior Surf Team. Now, did you know we had a Scottish Junior Surf Team?
I didn't know we had a senior one.
Well, I don't know if we do, but we certainly have a Scottish Junior team.
Right.
Now, the team is made up of surfers apparently from Thurso and Portsoy.
Yeah, apparently very good waves up in Thurso. Apparently you get some great surfing waves up there.
Right. And they're looking to raise money to send a team and their coaches and a manager to the Eurosurf Junior competitions, which are being held in Santa Cruz in Portugal on the 6th to the 13th of August this year.
I bet they are.
Apparently, in 2018, which I believe, as from what I can tell, is the last time this took place, the Scottish junior team came in 11th place in the whole competition. So well done for that. This year, they're obviously aiming to be a bit higher up if they can, I guess. They apparently need £2,000 as their target, and they're currently sitting with 45 days left at £1,000. So they are at 50%. So, if anyone's looking to...
Sounds a little bit like they're crowdfunding a holiday, though. A little bit. Is it not?
Well, they're crowdfunding to... all the money raised will go towards expenses, flights and accommodation, as they are the biggest costs, and also the extra expenses with COVID tests now, of course, which have to be factored in. So, I thought it was interesting. I'd never heard of the Scottish Junior Surf Team, and there's a video on their crowdfunding site, and we'll link to that as well. So people
in all seriousness, good luck to them, and I hope they get out there and do us proud. Whatever sport you're representing Scotland in, we'll back you 100% all the time.
Have either of you boys tried surfing?
No. I'm just a straight no. I was waiting for Si's thinking about it, like Si has to think about this.
No, I've watched surfing. No, surf and turf. I've tried that, but I haven't tried actually surfing.
Surfing's brilliant.
You've been surfing, though.
Well, you say surfing, Jim. I've been swimming next to a board in the North Sea, trying to get on it for 2 hours, which is practically surfing.
The North Sea as well. Ouch.
Also in February, so it was cold. It was colder outside than it was actually in the water, and actually once you're in the water, it was fine. But I loved it. It was brilliant fun. So addictive because obviously trying to swim along, paddle along, and sort of catch the wave and get up onto the wave at the same time. It's once you start doing it, you just want to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And I nearly got stood up once time.
Once you get it,
but I had a ball for 2 hours. It was just brilliant. So I'd love to do it again at some point.
Yeah. Well, the video that's on their website, it's got doing the usual, surfing in between waves or whatever, in the middle of the waves and stuff. It all looks very cool. So good luck to them. And Brucey, maybe we could crowdfund if we get you on a surfboard again.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'd do it anytime. We should go
film it.
The Boorach trip to surfing down the East Coast. Lots of good places down the East Coast.
We'll give it a go. We were in Ely today, and there was a lady swimming in the sea, and it just looked absolutely freezing. So I can imagine, anyone who wants to get in the sea on purpose, fair play to you. Good. Right. Let's move on to our next section, which is James's Whisky of the Week.
Oh,
last week, James, you brought us a Tomatin Legacy.
Yes, a Tomatin Legacy, that's right. I did, and that was, as you might remember, that was from about 16 miles south of Inverness, just a little bit off to the east coast from there. And we are going completely diagonally down across the country now, and we're going to go to Dumbartonshire on the Clyde, and we're going to go to the Auchentoshan distillery. Now, this is one of my favourite whiskies, partly because it's my favourite name of a whisky, is Auchentoshan, because if people who aren't Scottish just can't say it, and actually some people who are, because one of my friends who I went to school with, I was in London, and they had the Auchentoshan behind the bar, and we were having a wee whiskey, and I said, oh, let's try that, and went back, and he says, do you know, I've never tried this Auchentoshan before. He says, it's very nice. I had to laugh at him, and then I had to remind him he's from Scotland and should know that it's Auchentoshan. So yes, it is. They do actually on their website, right on the front of the page, this is how you pronounce Auchentoshan. So there's obviously a lot of people who struggle with this. But this week they do lots. Like most distilleries, you can actually probably go around. What most distilleries will do, probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different types of whiskey just from that distillery, and Auchentoshan are the same. And they have a few age statement whiskies. They've got a 12-year-old, an 18-year-old, I think a 21-year-old as well whiskey, but a lot of them are what they call malt whiskey blends. So a Scotch malt whiskey blend, and we talked about blended whiskies and what's the difference, last week. But a malt whiskey blend is actually malt whiskey that's all from the same distillery, but the whiskies can be from different years and then mixed together to make the different types. And Auchentoshan do a 3-wood, which is a very famous one, and they do an American oak, which you'll probably see in supermarkets and stuff. And they do some when you're travelling as well. And the one I got in the airport, which I'm going to show the cameras there just now, is an Auchentoshan Springwood. So it's one that's not that common because, like I say, they generally only do this in the airports and when you're travelling. And
is this the stuff they send away?
I'd try that because I don't normally see it. I beg your pardon?
Is this the stuff they send away? Send the
This
rubbish
is the one
abroad
they don't-
and keep
they
the
don't-
good stuff in Scotland.
They don't drink this here because it's rubbish. No, it's all Auchentoshans are really nice, and they do actually. There's some brand new ones. There's a blood oak one now as well, and a dark oak Auchentoshan. So they've even brought out some new whiskies. But they're 3-wood whiskey. They do a lot with triple distilling and also putting the whiskey, maturing it in different barrels. And the 3-wood whiskey, which is one of their more common ones, is done in a sherry cask, it's done in a bourbon cask, and then it's done in a different type of sherry cask again. So it's 3 different types of cask that they will mature the whiskey in. And as I said last week, it's got to be 3 years and 1 day before it can even be Scotch. So it's got to be a minimum of 3 years in an oak barrel. And they move the whiskey between barrels to try and enhance that flavour. And like I say, the different numbers of years that they've been in those barrels, and they mix it together and they blend them so that they can get the consistency and the taste. Now, anyway, enough about that. So Auchentoshan. So what's the difference between this and the Tomatin? Is going to be what anybody who's not used to whiskey. When you go further to the west coast, you get a lot stronger whiskey. So what people would more associate with whiskey, that kind of more that burn and more that kind of really strong whiskey smell and whiskey flavour. This one doesn't have a lot of smoke, it doesn't have a lot of peat. It's not like the Western Island whiskies, the Talisker from Skye or the Jura. It doesn't have that, but it definitely has a lot more of the burn. Now, am I doing the ASMR licking my lip
James,
thing like from last week?
I was just about to give a trigger warning to our listeners that you're about to drink it and they might want to just brace themselves for that sound.
Well, or turn it up, Bruce, or
Yeah, whatever floats their boat.
No, as I said last week, a little bit. You've got to put a little bit on your lips, okay, and then just lick your lips, and that gives you a really nice soft flavour for the whiskey first. Now, this one, if you take a drink of it neat, and I did say last week, you should always try whiskey neat first. And when you try it neat, you'll probably go, give it a wee cough because it's got that burn. You can feel it go down your throat. And this one you might need if you're not used to whiskey and you don't necessarily want that burn, and that can be quite nice, especially it can be very warming. I can actually feel that go all the way down into my stomach now, and it's actually just warming all the way down. It's lovely. You can put a little bit of water in to soften it up. Just try a little bit of water and then try it again until you find just the sweet spot for you that you'll like it, and then you can drink it like that. And it's all about the ratio of whiskey to water at that point. So just try and remember that. But for each of them, it's going to be different. But yeah, Auchentoshan Springwood, that is this week's whiskey of the week, and I would recommend it, especially if you're travelling abroad for your holiday this year. I don't think anybody is, though, are they? But anyway, if you see it in the airport and you're on the way to Portugal or on your way back and you're in the queue, to get tested or whatever, then have a look out for Auchentoshan Springwood. It's a lovely drop.
Very good. Can I just ask, if you had both of them in front of you last week's and this week's, which one would you reach for?
I think, a lot of people say, what's your favourite? And actually, it genuinely is partly about what mood you're in and who you're with and how you're drinking it and what you've had to drink before it as well. I've had some whiskies that I would say are my favourite, and I've gone to them and I've gone, that's not what I remember from last time, and I'll go to another one and I'll try and I'll go, that's much better. And sometimes you want that wee burn and sometimes you don't. So it's not really which one I would reach for. It's actually horses for it. It's just the occasion. But and that's why I like to mix them up. I don't ever just sort of buy the one type of whiskey. I buy lots of different types, and and try, different ones at different times, and they'll be lovely. But the Tomatin's a softer whiskey. It's a more all-round. You can't go wrong with it. And I think the Springwood, Auchentoshan Springwood, and Auchentoshan in general is maybe more, it's got that burn, so you have to want that burn when you go to drink it, if you know what I mean. So I'll probably reach for it less, if you see what I mean.
Okay. No, that's good. Great. Well, that's 2 for 2. Very good, James. Thanks very much. What's going to be on the menu next week, or have you not thought about that yet?
Well, I'm already looking forward to it. I was looking today. There's a Balvenie there. There's a Cragganmore. I might go back to Speyside again. That's kind of my hunting ground. So yeah, I'll probably bring something out from Speyside. But then I do want to try and get some of the blended whiskies, the Johnny Walkers. Actually, I've got quite a few different types of Johnny Walker that I would like to take you through. There's one with a rye finish. There's the Island Green. There's lots of different Spice Road. There's a whole bunch of different Johnny Walker whiskies that are very
good.
Nice.
Well, we should look forward to next week. Whiskey obviously takes us on nicely to the last section of the podcast, which is the Scottish word section. This is where one of us brings a Scottish word to the podcast, and the other two have to guess what it was. James started us off last week with some great.
Did you manage to use it? Tapetless? No,
I haven't used
senseless?
it, to be honest.
Tapetless, didn't.
Bruce.
It's a dying language.
Well, let's see if we can get any more luck with this week.
Yeah, well, I think you might.
Bruce, you've got a word for us this week?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So this week, the Scots word is the word gludder.
Can you spell it for us?
A gludder. Gludder.
Okay.
So, your options for what a gludder might be are: is it when someone is feeling a little bit happier, they're feeling gludder?
I bet gludder.
Okay.
Is it the
like it.
glow or heat from the sun, particularly like when it comes out of the clouds? So you're getting a nice gludder from the sun.
Oh.
Or
okay.
Is it a very sort of modern new Scots word, a sort of new Scots translation for the English glider? Gludder.
Right, okay.
It's just like a mispronunciation. Although, to be fair, a lot of Scots, it looks like it's just mispronounced English.
Of course, its own derivative language.
As we're... Yeah. Well, I'm going to put my neck out and I'm going to say that gludder means the second one, the one about the sun coming out of the clouds.
Aye. The sun through the clouds is what I would go for as well. I don't think it's going to be gladder, essentially, what you're saying. Happier to see somebody. And the glider thing, I'm not going for that. No, I'll go for the sun thing
you're
too.
Both right. Yes, a gludder is a warming heat from the sun, particularly on a sort of cloudy day. When it's a bit overcast and you get that kind of, you can sort of feel the sun through the clouds. Is that a gludder?
Oh, there's a bra gludder out the day. Is that kind of what you're supposed to say? Is that kind of the sentence? We should use each word in a sentence.
Oh,
good. Well, there you go. So that's 2 weeks in a row. I've learned something and had fun. I think we're producing a fun-entertainment podcast here.
We're educational. We're educational for adults. Because I should stop swearing, and it could be for children as well.
I have to tick a box on YouTube to say it's not for children. Because of your mouth.
Yes. only because of you.
Good. Well, that and the fact I'm drinking whiskey live on air.
Oh, dear. No, that's good. Well done, Bruce. That's nice. Right, okay, gludder. Okay, good. Well, good. Guys, I think we're back up to just under an hour again, so we're going to have to wrap this up, I think. So, nice speaking to you all both again. We'll do it again next week. Thank you to everyone who's listening and watching on YouTube. Please do like and subscribe, and if you have anybody else who might like and subscribe as well, please let them know about what we're trying to do here. We're also on Twitter now as well. It's at the Boorach1. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, please do. Guys, thanks again for your time. It's been good fun. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again next week. Brucey, see you next week.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Si. Come on, Scotland. Let's do this.
All right. Jimmy D, see you next week.
Yeah, we can boogie. All I need a second
Learn the
song.
word.
All right.
Got to learn the
Yeah,
word.
go on, Scotland.
And
Thanks, Si.
with that, we shall all say good night. So good night and keep safe. Bye bye.